Hello, guys. Hey, I'm so excited to join you for today's live stream. Thank you to everyone who's in the chat already interacting and saying hello. If you are joining me for the first time, my name is Heather Austin from ProfessorAustin.com. And on this channel, I help professionals land their dream job so they can grow in a field they love. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the thumbs up button down below. Also, this lets me know that you can hear me and audio is working properly. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you're notified when I do these live trainings or when I publish a new video every single week on my channel. So we are here to help you land your dream job. Now, today we have a big topic. This is a heavy topic, and if you have not yet seen this out there on the internet, and this is the first time you're learning about the Great Resignation, I'll be surprised by that. Most of you probably have already heard about this. Most of you are probably wondering what the heck is the Great Resignation. Today, we are going to talk about new job market details that you need to know. So again, hit the thumbs up button if you can hear me and audio's coming through okay. Let me know in the chat where you're joining us from. Let me know who you are. We had a lot of fantastic people jump in early. Michelle, I'm so happy to see you here. Demi Jones is here. Hello. Sunday is here. TB is here from York, Pennsylvania. Welcome. Let's see. Kobo Properties is here. Welcome. Michelle Wolf is here. Elizabeth is here. Girl Galen is here from Salt Lake City. All right. Awesome. Galen, thanks for joining. Anne is here. Donna is here. T-Mark. I want to say hello to all of you guys, but we need to jump right into the content. Thank you so much for sharing your name, telling us who you are, and joining today's live stream. We have some fantastic content covered for you. Tori, my team member, is also in the chat. So if you guys have any questions about your career or anything career related, make sure you pop that question into the chat as well, because we are going to answer some of those toward the end of today's live stream. Now, I share slides. I'm a very visual learner, so I'm going to share some slides with you guys to get us started for today. And you know what? You're probably going to want to take notes because we are going to cover a lot of really good details about what's happening in the job market right now and how you can leverage yourself if you are searching for a new job. And by the way, if you are in a hiring capacity, I also am going to be sharing some information that employers should know as well. So today is such a jam-packed event. So again, my name is Heather Austin. We're covering the Great Resignation, new job market details. Let me pop my slides up so I can see them. Now, I'm going to put my glasses on here so I can see my slides a little bit better. I do have a bonus for you if you stick around until the end, where you can learn how you can save your spot for a very special brand new live cover letter workshop that we have that we're going to be hosting here in the next little while. So stick around to the end to learn more about that. Now, I ask a lot of questions during my live stream. So if you have your phone out and you can type in, or you have a keyboard in front of you, make sure you're typing in your questions. And by the way, your answers. By the way, you have to be logged into YouTube, to your YouTube account, to be able to respond. So make sure you are, because I want to be able to speak with you on a personal level and call you out in the chat. So say hello and log into your YouTube account so you can do that. Now, I want to know, have you recently quit your job to do something different or new? Okay, have you recently quit your job to do something different or new, or are you considering quitting your job? So type a yes into the chat if this is something that resonates with you. Now, I want to share a couple of results from my followers in our private Facebook community. We have a free community on Facebook, and here's kind of what they said about the situation, because I asked them the same thing. Now, Devin popped in and said, I quit on April 23rd. He said, I was making the most money ever that I had, and I was leading a great team. He says, I realized somehow I was still not satisfied. He said, I wanted to invest 8 hours in myself every day to see what would happen. Now, here's the cool thing. What happened with Devin is he actually became a career coach, and he is continuing to help his clients succeed in their job search. Now, here's what happened with Anam. Anam popped in and said, yes, I switched careers. I switched both industry and role to do something different. So Anam was in the same role for almost 12 years, actually over 12 years in the aerospace department. His COVID hit, his kids were isolated for a year, and he said, you know what? I need something different. I can't let my kids stay isolated anymore. He made a move where he could be closer to his family and people to help in the role of raising his children. And he said he actually ended a new position. He says, I couldn't be happier to embrace all these changes. He says he changed his location, he changed his industry, and he changed his role. And he's so happy about that. Now, let me share a couple of other individuals who did the same thing. So Maria actually says, I'm on a break for a museum job. She says, I am waitlisted for museum educator. I have also started a VA program studying art history. She says, this is a new track for me. So if you guys are kind of noticing, there is a lot of change happening in the job market and a lot of change with job seekers. So Rolled On said, finally had the courage to stop applying for retail or administrative assistant positions. Now I'm proudly a human resource specialist. Teresa said, I quit my prior job on March 11th and started my current job March 22nd. She says, also switching industries and role. Here's the cool thing. My current position has allowed me to work 100% remotely. She says, for which I am forever thankful for. So if you guys, any of this resonates with you, or if you find yourself in this situation, type yes in the chat down below. And of course, I have more awesome questions to share with you guys in just a minute. Now, while you guys are typing that in, if we have never met before, my name is Heather Austin. I'm a career strategy expert. I am a university professor turned entrepreneur. I taught in the university setting for over 15 years, and I turned my skill to YouTube. So I come on YouTube now and I teach other professionals and job seekers how to find their dream job so that they can land in a career they love. Now, most of you know me from YouTube, and if you don't know me from YouTube, binge watch all of my videos. We have a lot of fantastic videos out there. In June, our channel reached 10 million views. In fact, I haven't even checked the most recent count, but in June we reached 10 million views. So we continue to help hundreds of thousands of job seekers, from resume writing, cover letter writing, LinkedIn, interview strategies, all that good stuff. So I'm going to shout out again. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so you're notified when I host these types of trainings. Now, I want to see what you guys said in terms of either switching careers, if you are thinking about it, or if you actually have switched. Let's see. Let me get to your comments. There's a lot of them coming through. So happy to see this. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Elizabeth says yes. Shay Carla says yes. Anne says hi. This is Anne. Hi, Anne. Donna says no, I wish. Donna, today's going to give you some really good ideas on how you can make that happen. Amanda says yes, looking for a new job. Demi says yes, looking, but I'm still employed. Can't take another. This story too often from job seekers on a daily basis. Anne says, I'm looking for a new career. Awesome. You guys, thanks so much for popping in. Again, if you have ever considered, or if you are considering a job change or a career change, type yes into the chat. Now, let's talk about really quickly what's happening in the job market right now. Okay, so we know that the pandemic hit. It's caused a huge shift in the job market. But what's happening is the pandemic isn't over yet. So at least no one's declared that it's over, right? There's a new variant happening. There is the threat of more business closures, the potential for more restrictions, right? Well, this number represents the number of people that quit their job alone in April of 2021. So this is the highest quit number we have seen in the US in over 20 years. Okay, so 4 million people said, I quit in April of 2021. Now, here's the thing. May and June are only slightly lower than this number. Now, these are people that weren't laid off, that were laid off. These are not people that were laid off or furloughed. These are people that actually said, I quit, okay? 4 million people in April. Now, here's a statement by the U.S. Bureau of Labor of Statistics, who they track all these stats, okay, and they put them out to us in the general public so that we can evaluate them. In April, the quits level and rate increased to a series high of 4 million people. Okay, if that does not blow your mind, I don't know what does. So this is, again, the largest increase that we've had in over 20 years. We're seeing this mostly in areas like retail, hotel, restaurant, and you'll notice it even says the number of quits increased in the South, the Midwest, and the West regions. So I'd be curious to know if any of you are in that category. Now let's talk really quickly about why is this happening. Now, I went to McDonald's. Yes, I do take my kids to McDonald's sometimes. I don't always eat there, but they sometimes want a Happy Meal and they love Happy Meals. So I took them to McDonald's this past weekend. I got them a Happy Meal, and here's a sign. If you guys notice this, it says we're hiring starting at $12 an hour, open interviews anytime, paid time off, first day, first hour. Okay. And then if you notice, there's another little sign down below that says fast, hot McDonald's jobs. So I want to know in the chat, have you guys seen this in your community lately? Now, I just took a picture of this going through the drive-through because I'm seeing this in my community all the time. Almost every store I go into, almost every restaurant, wherever it is, I am seeing these signs. So let me know in the chat if you guys are seeing signs like this in your community. Now, let's talk a little bit about why this is happening. So I'm going to shed some light onto this. And you know what? You probably know some of these as well because you're probably experiencing them. But let me talk to you a little bit about why this is happening. So one of the first things we're seeing is that there is burnout and fatigue. So employees are having to work longer hours and they're getting burned out and they're just tired. Okay. Again, this is especially true for frontline workers. We saw this with educators, and it will be interesting to see what happens as schools start opening up in the fall again in the next couple weeks. We also see that workers are actually having to perform uncomfortable tasks, so things that they're not used to doing, okay? And then we also see that there's a lot of childcare constraints with this as well, okay? The other reason why we're seeing this shortage is there's an uncertainty about the future. So a lot of people are worried, is there a next wave coming? They're stressed out about transitioning back into the office. So let's say they've been working from home for a while and now they're having to like go back to the office. That's unsettling for a lot of people. They're unsure of how to move forward in their current role because maybe they got used to working remotely and they've learned how to do things a little bit differently. So there's an uncertainty about the future. The other reason why this is happening is a reevaluation of life priorities. Let me know if this resonates with you. A lot of folks are reevaluating what's really important to them right now. Okay, they're wanting to spend more time with their family. They're wanting more space. They want more money. They want flexibility, and they want more happiness. So let me know if that resonates with you as well. The next part to this is general stress and trauma related to COVID. So we've been through a year and a half of this craziness, and a lot of people are just stressed out from it. A lot of people have lost loved ones or watched other people pass away from this. A lot of people, and by the way, you guys, I'm the most optimistic person. I'm not trying to cause gloom and doom here. But this is just one of the reasons why we're seeing labor shortage and decrease in employee satisfaction, which we're going to talk about. That's what I want to focus on. We're going to talk about that in a second. But I also want to add here that we've had a lot of generous unemployment benefits. So again, that's making it harder for workers to go back and say, I'm going to go work for $10 an hour doing this or $15 an hour doing this or whatever it might be. And even in specialized skills areas. So again, let me know if this sounds like you. Let me see kind of where you guys are. Sam, hello. I'm so happy you're here. I just love you. Sammy says, I have made a complete switch learning a new skill and getting to use my transferable skills. I love it. And by the way, Sammy is in our Facebook group. She is a wonderful contributor in there. She always has so many thoughtful comments. So thank you, Sammy. Let's see. I'm seeing a lot of yeses in terms of this is resonating with you guys. Elizabeth says, yes, seeing it everywhere I go here, especially in stores, restaurants, and stores and restaurants. Melissa says, yes, my husband waited for over 20 years at Sonic for 3 plain hamburgers with lettuce. Oh, I know. It's kind of crazy. Okay, next question. I want to know if you are in an industry experiencing a labor shortage. So are you actually in one of those industries that is experiencing a shortage? Let me know yes or no in the comments. And if you're not, what industry are you in? I would love to know. Pop that in as well. So let's talk really quickly about how employers can respond to what's happening right now. Okay, so what can employers do about it? How can they enhance their employee experience? Okay, so I'm going to share a couple things with you that we think that employers could do to really help curb this labor shortage. So one of the first things is revamp telework policies. Okay, for example, develop some sort of return to office policy that gives employees more flexibility. So there is actually, and a good example of this is Apple, who they have actually asked people to return to work 3 days a week in September. Now, this was just on recent data that I read. Now, it's so crazy that we're always in flux. Things change so much. So this could have changed since I last looked at it, but that's one of the things that they're trying to do to increase that employee experience. Now, another thing is to give employees a sense of purpose and belonging. Okay, so one of the best ways to do this is when a manager or an organization or a company just listens to their employees. So they don't wait for employee reviews to check in with their employees. A good supervisor or a good manager will actually engage their employees at any time. Okay. Another one is cultivating a positive workplace relationship, okay? So one of the things that we know for sure is that employees don't leave companies, they leave bad managers. Now, I put out a video recently. In fact, Tori, I wonder if we can find the video that I put out recently. It was bad signs of if you're in an interview, red flags that you need to pay attention to. And by the way, we're also going to be releasing a video soon about toxic workplace environments because it seems to be such a hot topic right now and something that I get emails about frequently. But maybe, Tori, if you can find that video, these are things you should watch for in an interview. This is one of the things you want to look at is, are they cultivating positive workplace relationships? Another thing is providing support and recognition. Okay, so this isn't about recognizing like employees who are going above and beyond their normal duty. This is about taking just a couple minutes every day to recognize an employee for what they're doing right now. So things that are happening in the moment, not after the fact, if that makes sense. The other thing that companies really need to focus on here is not just having bosses and managers recognize employees, but almost like coworkers recognize coworkers. So it almost becomes like a cross recognition, right? It doesn't have to just be my boss or my supervisor that tells me I'm doing a good job. I could hear it from my coworker as well. And then finally, on this point, create a shared vision and passion. So if your employees don't have a shared vision or a shared passion about the organization or the goals, then that's not good. So what organizations need to do is really bring employees on board with where the company is going and all that good stuff. Now, if you guys are finding value in this video, I want you to hit the thumbs up button down below. Also, there is a little share button below this video. I'm about to share with you guys some fantastic items. If you know anyone that you can share this video with to get it out to the general public, click that share button and share it out with as many people as you can. So like, and of course, share. And while you guys are doing that, I have another question for you. What employee enhancement would you like to see organizations make? So if you've been out there in the job market, you're currently working, or maybe you're going on interviews, what is it that you would love to see a company do that would make that organization a fantastic organization to work with? So what employee enhancement would you like to see organizations make? Now, while you're typing that in, let's talk about what job seekers can do. So if you are a job seeker, you want to definitely take some notes on this part, because this is really kind of what you can do now as the Great Resignation is happening, as we're seeing a shortage in the labor market, as the I quit trend is running rampant. What can job seekers do? So first thing that we can do as a job seeker is take inventory of your goals and desires. So this is where you really need to think about what you like to do. So if you guys remember back to Devin, the story of Devin that I shared earlier, he said that he took time to invest in himself every day and figure out what it was that he wanted to do. What types of things does he like? Where does he flourish? What what do other people tell him that he does well? So that's kind of what I want you guys to think about. Where do you want to be in 3 to 5 years? Okay. Really take inventory of your goals and your desires. The next thing you need to do, which by far is probably the very, very, very most important thing, is you need to nurture your network. So continue to grow your network. If you're not using LinkedIn, you definitely want to get on LinkedIn right away. In fact, Tori, we have a video that I released earlier a couple months back that is like a step-by-step guide to using LinkedIn. If you can find that too, Tori, and pop that into the chat. This is it's kind of a lengthy video, but it takes you through step-by-step how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. You definitely want to make sure you're getting and using LinkedIn on a daily basis to either connect with new people, to reconnect with existing people, to join relevant groups and interact with groups. You might even be a thought leader, or you might even want to move into the thought leader role. You could start posting articles on LinkedIn or making meaningful posts in the newsfeed. So again, make sure you're nurturing your network. Request informational interviews, reach out to people that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, people you went to school with that maybe you don't know yet, but that you went to the same school. There's so many ways you can nurture your network. The next thing I want you to do is develop a solid 30-second pitch. Now, Tori, I do know that I have this video for you to share with the group today. I have a video where I walk you through how to develop your 30-second pitch. So we're talking about who you are, who you help, what are you passionate about, what makes you so unique, how does the current opportunity relate to your aspirations, okay? So what you're going to do with your 30-second pitch is develop basically like a statement about yourself that tells people the amazing things about you that they need to know, okay? Now, I do have a video about that goes into more detail. I noticed Andrew popped in. Good question, Andrew. What is a thought leader? So a thought leader is anyone that kind of has a leadership role, and not, you don't even have to necessarily be a leader, but someone that is I don't necessarily want to call it the word influencer, because I think that term has such a general or a broad meaning, but anyone could be a thought leader. Like, let's say, Andrew, that you had a passion for chemical engineering, let's just say, and you wanted to write an article about it because you have such a passion about it. You have some sort of background in it. Maybe you're working with it every day, whatever it is. You can write an article about some of the questions you're seeing come up, mostly about chemical engineering. So it's really just someone that shares their thoughts on a specific topic, and that sort of cultivates new and interesting ideas to kind of lead the way. If that makes sense. Good question though, Andrew. The next thing is make yourself relevant. So this is where a lot of folks will say, okay, I'm going to switch careers, or I'm going to jump into a new industry, but you have to figure out, what can I do to make myself relevant in that new industry? Is it a new course? Is it continuing education? Maybe it is an official certification program or an official degree that you need to receive. Look at what you can do to be making yourself relevant in the field. And then, of course, revamp your career portfolio. Now, I use the term career portfolio, but what I mean by that is your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile. I mean, we could even lump interview strategies into that, but when it comes to portfolio, we could lump 30-second pitch into that. That's like you getting all of your career documents ready so that when that opportunity presents itself, or maybe the opportunity hasn't presented itself, but you're looking for that opportunity, you're ready to hand someone your resume, to hand them your cover letter, to shoot them your URL on your LinkedIn profile so that they can kind of go through all that good stuff and say, yes, this person is the person we're looking for this new job. So let me see really quickly what you guys are saying in the chat. I love Demi said, take care of their employees. Don't treat them like crap, especially the ones who have been there longest. My boss puts me on a back burner for new employees. I'm stuck doing the dirty work. Yes. And you guys, sometimes when you see these things happening in the job market or in your place of employment, that's when you got to explore options for either moving on or moving into a new position under a different leader, whatever that might be. Anne says, career plans for the employee. How can they advance with their organization? Leadership with the organization, create the vision and teach the vision. I love that. So good. Okay. So as we move on here, I want to know from you guys, type into the chat what your biggest takeaway is so far. So your biggest takeaway so far from today's lesson. Now, we do have time for questions. So if you guys want to get any career-related questions in, make sure you pop that into the chat. And Tori and I will get to as many of those as we can. Now, while you guys are typing in what your biggest takeaway is so far, you're probably here today because you've either heard about the Great Resignation, the pandemic has changed your career mindset in some way. Perhaps you're rethinking like what work means to you, how you're valued, how you spend your time. I know a lot of that, my husband and I have these discussions all the time. It's kind of changed the way that we run our family and the way that we do things on a daily basis. Maybe you're no longer okay doing work that you don't enjoy. Now, with this huge shift in the market, you probably are wondering, okay, how can I stand out from my competition? Well, everything that I've shared with you guys today, this is stuff that my clients and that my students use to make those career transitions successfully. I don't have access to like expensive programs or expensive tools or hidden secrets. What I do have though is I have a solution and I have a system that works, which is why I want to invite you guys to join me inside of Cover Letter Magic. Now, Cover Letter Magic is a brand new live 90-minute cover letter workshop where you'll learn a simple 5-part framework for creating an incredible cover letter that tells your true career story and lands you a higher salary. Now, let me tell you what I did this week, you guys. I popped an email out to all my email subscribers, and I said, hey, we're thinking about hosting a cover letter workshop. Would you be interested? We got hundreds and hundreds of emails from people saying, yes, I want to attend this workshop. In fact, Tori, she's the one that helps me manage my inbox. By the way, thanks, Tori, for sorting through all these messages that we got. Let me just show you a couple of screenshots. Here's just one page, and we had like pages and pages and pages of these emails that came through. Here's another page that came through. These are just a couple screenshots, but we sorted through all the people that were like, yes, I'm interested. And I'm like, you know what? We got to create this live interactive 90-minute cover letter workshop for the folks that really want to learn how to write a cover letter that tells their true career story. Now, let me share a couple of success stories with you guys. So Dustin landed an interview with a major sports broadcasting company. He says, just landed an interview with a major sports broadcasting company. Wouldn't have been able to do it without Professor Austin's cover letter advice. Anne-Marie landed her dream job with her desired salary and good benefits. She says, I got a call from the job I've been interviewing for today, and he just said, I'm putting together my official letter. So basically, I have the job. So she goes on to say, thanks so much. I've gotten my dream job. Here's what happened with Peggy. So after months of disappointment, Peggy actually landed a great job. She says, after months of search and disappointment, I landed a great job. I recently joined them and I'm thoroughly enjoying this work for this organization. So here's the cool thing, what Peggy says. She said, this is definitely light at the end of the tunnel, so never give up. Your awesome time is right around the corner. And by the way, you guys, with this shift happening, there's so many more new opportunities available. Now, let me share with you really quickly what we're going to teach. And by the way, this is a live 90-minute interactive workshop. I'm going to share with you guys really quickly what we're teaching in this workshop. So we're going to talk about how to start your cover letter with a catchy introduction that is meaningful and memorable. We're also going to talk about a straightforward approach for showing your passion and your expertise for the position. Okay, so notice I said passion and expertise. The next thing we're going to talk about is a simple solution for keeping your cover letter interesting and to the point. So one of the questions I get a lot is, Heather, my cover letter's so long. How can I shorten it down so that I'm only including what's relevant? Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to cover a 3-step system for tailoring your cover letter to ensure it doesn't regurgitate your job or regurgitate your resume or the job description. Now, let me share the details with you about Cover Letter Magic. So the first option, we actually are holding this cover letter workshop 2 separate days. You can choose one option or you can choose both options. You can attend both sessions if you want. The first option is Wednesday, August 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern. The second option is Thursday, August 19th at 6 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to be doing an afternoon session on Wednesday and an evening session on Thursday. We're going to cover basically the same thing during both sessions, but you know what? Sometimes I go off on a tangent and we cover different things. So we're gonna have this workshop both days. Now, you do have lifetime replay access if you can't attend or join us live. I would highly recommend joining live because there's going to be a lot of perks for those that actually show up live. So let me share with you guys the bonuses for this workshop. So we're going to have a step-by-step playbook with templates and examples. I know that that's one of the questions I get a lot is, Heather, I need to see how are other people writing their cover letters? Can I see some examples? I need a template, which of course we include all of that for you, and a step-by-step playbook. So you'll actually be able to print this out or have it up on your computer to take notes if you want to do it that way. Now, the second bonus that I'm going to have for this workshop is a bonus critique. Now, this is where you can submit your cover letter to be eligible for a free cover letter review. Now, normally when I do these review shows, we get hundreds and hundreds of submissions. I'm taking submissions just from Cover Letter Magic folks, so whoever enrolls in the workshop, and then I'll be sorting through those, and we're going to actually be working through your cover letter live during the workshop. So this is what I do with my clients on a one-on-one level. I pull up their cover letter, we pull up the job description, we hammer it out, and before you know it, they have a nice, awesome cover letter. So that's what we're going to be doing during the workshop. When you sign up, you're eligible to submit your cover letter to for the review. Now, I do have a fast action bonus as well. So if you enroll on or before our first workshop, so on or before Wednesday, August 18th, you get a job interview confidence training. So actually, if you enroll right now, you have access to this training right away. This actually, you're actually get access to our learning management system where you can start going through this job interview confidence training right away. Now, you're probably like, Heather, what is the investment for this program? Well, the total value of all the live training, the templates, the examples, all the bonus materials in Cover Letter Magic is worth more than $300. But are you guys ready for this? Your investment is just $37. Now, we have not offered a program at this investment price point probably for 4 years. So this is a easy entry program where you can join me live. Now, keep in mind, we may have to cap the amount of students that jump into this program. We're going to kind of see how enrollment goes over the next week or so, but we may get to a point where we can't let any more people in. So if this is something that you are looking forward to, this is not going to be live out to the public on YouTube. This is going to be a private training using either Zoom or another webinar software, wherever we can get the largest amount of people in. But again, they all have caps. So if you're thinking about it and you're serious about it and you want to do it, make sure you get in, because it could be a week from now and we can't let any more people in. So again, make sure if you want to join us for this, make sure you get in. So don't miss out. If you enroll now, you'll save $160 off the full price. This is a special one-time offer. We've never done this offer before, but based on your responses to my email, I'm like, you know what? We got to throw together an amazing cover letter workshop to get you guys in the process of writing your career story, being able to use your cover letter, not just as a cover letter, but in an introduction to an email, in an introduction in a LinkedIn message. Like, there's so many ways that you can use your cover letter, and I'm going to show you how to do that during the workshop. So all you have to do is go to professoraustin.com/live offer. Now, Tori will have that link for you in the chat as well. So professoraustin.com/live offer. While you guys are going to that link, let me actually share a couple of stories with you as well. So Rita landed her dream job. She says, after months of interviews and denials, I finally landed my dream job. Super excited for this opportunity. Darcy received 2 job offers. She says, thank you, Professor Heather Austin and team. I have just received 2 job offers after using your process to update my job search a year later, and now back to work. Thank you for the support and help over the last year. Amy switched careers and landed a new job. So she says, I officially got the job. I got the job offer last week. She actually changed careers and now she's doing project management. She says, and the company has some amazing benefits. Now, let me share the details again with you guys really quickly. A live 90-minute interactive cover letter workshop. There's 2 options. Wednesday, August 18th, you can join us in the morning or early afternoon. Option 2 is Thursday, August 19th, later in the evening or later afternoon. Choose which option works best for you. Attend or just attend one or both sessions, okay? Again, lifetime access to the replay is available. You get an interactive play-by-play workbook with templates and examples. That's our first bonus. Second bonus is you are eligible for a cover letter review during the show. So I'm going to take whoever wants to submit their cover letter, we'll review those. We'll bring it up during the, I shouldn't say show, but the workshop. This is sort of like a live show right now. And we will review your cover letter. And then, of course, the fast action bonus. Job interview confidence training. Okay. Now this is, I understand cover letters are just one part to the process, but this is what I have found in my years of doing this. Cover letters are one of the things that stump people the most. It's one of the things that it's the hardest to write. You want to use a cool story, but you're just not sure how to tell it. You want them to know your personality and your character. You're just not sure how to let that shine in a cover letter. So I'm going to show you some interesting ways that you can put that all together in a live interactive workshop. Now, your investment again, $37. If you are on the fence at all, remember we may have to cap this as time goes on, and we may only be able to accept a certain amount of people. So make sure if you're thinking about that, make sure you get in before we actually have to cut off the line there. Now, again, let me share a couple more stories with you before I take questions. Erica accepted a remote position as a technical writer. So she says, I'm thrilled to let you know I've been offered and accepted a remote position as a technical writer. Today I received a package with the equipment necessary to handle the job, laptop, 2 monitors, etc. Isn't that awesome? She says, she goes on to say, I am thrilled. Do not be afraid to tell your concerns about your fears of pay. So she actually negotiated her salary during this offer as well. And then Abraham, he says, following your advice, I landed my dream job with my limited experience in the field. He says, I was able to prepare the most amazing CV and cover letter with your advice. He said, I got half a dozen calls from different companies the past few weeks, and each hiring manager complimented the attention to detail on my CV/cover letter and wanted to meet. He said, sorry, wrong screen. He said, many of them even mentioned that I am their first choice and that they wanted me to interview. So anyway, so many amazing things there. Terry, again, here's another, our last story for the day. He's a power engineer. He says, your guidance helped me polish up my LinkedIn, rev up my resume, helped me ace an interview to get a fabulous job for a position that I believe I will truly enjoy. And he says, and I'm a 57-year-old fossil who is 10 years out of the job search market. He said, I couldn't have done it without you. So again, if you want to join us today, get the fast action bonus before it's too late. Enroll before we cap enrollment, professoraustin.com/live offer. So again, let me pop the screen up really quickly with the details so that you guys have that. So you can make sure that workshop works into your schedule. And then while you guys are taking a look at that, you can even take a screenshot of the, take a screenshot if you'd like. Let me check here for some questions really quick. Oh, George asks a really good question. What if you already have the job interview confidence training course? That's perfect. Here's the cool thing about this workshop, you guys, is we priced it at such a point that you could, it would be feasible for you to be there. The workshop contents on its own in terms of what we're covering during that 90 minutes is it's going to be so out of this world. So the job interview confidence training is just kind of like, look at that as like the frosting on the top or the cherry on the top. Okay. It's kind of just like another added bonus. If you already have it, fantastic. Continue to review it. Beach Bailey Girl. I love your screen name. Suggestions for people making a transition into a new career field. Yes, totally. So one thing you have to keep in mind, remember when I talked about making yourself relevant in your career field? So you want to make sure you're doing whatever you can to be relevant with the times and relevant with the industry. Excuse me. When you are going through that process, you are going to start learning about skills that are required, certifications that might be required, education that might be required. So pursue those options. But then another big part of that is to look at your transferable skills. So like, are you transitioning into an industry that's totally different, or are you transitioning into an industry that is similar? Okay. Either way, you're going to take a look at all of your transferable skills and kind of line them up. In fact, I did a live stream. I can't remember when when it was or what the topic was, but where we talked about how to, it was like a map where you'll actually map out all your skills. You'll map out the skills of the position, and then you kind of like connect the dots between the two. And those are the skills that you focus on when you're going into that transition. Like those are the skills you're putting on your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, and that you're talking about in an interview. Good question, Beach Bailey girl. Okay, Carson says, if I start a new job, how long should I give myself if I like the job or not? Is 3 months too short? Oh, this is such a good question. So Carson, I think it totally depends. There are red flags you'll notice right from the beginning. If you're saying, I don't like this job, keep in mind that 3 months is like, if you're going to have that on your resume, like you were in a position for just 3 months, you got to be prepared to talk about that to another interviewer, or maybe you don't even list the job at all. Okay. So you got to be prepared to either talk about some sort of gap that you might have had, or that why were you there for 3 months? Now, if you have some really good reasons to mention, and the job is just, you're like, I got to get out of this. I can't take it anymore. I can't stand another day. You have to do ultimately at the end of the day, what's best for you. If you think you can wait it out, and you think you can improve your situation a little bit, there's nothing wrong with staying. But it ultimately comes down to you and your own, kind of like your own compass, if that makes sense. Good question, though. Kobo Property says, for those over 50 years of age, is there anything that I need to pay special attention to in their resume? Yes, such a good question. So I also did a live stream about this, not this exact topic, but we talked about this. Anyone that is, over the age of 50, what you need to be focusing on is how can you bring out that you are totally aware and understand some of the latest technology that we're using in the workplace. So again, look at how are you using Teams, Zoom, how are you using some of that technology that people use daily to interact, and how effective are you with it, okay? The other thing I would talk about as well is your kind of like your ability to be a really good listener, someone that can follow directions really well, and someone that's a fantastic team player. So, and then of course you're going to bring in all that awesome knowledge and all that awesome experience that you have. Don't let your age ever hold you back. Focus on the positive parts to it, and then go from there. That's a really good question. I get that question a lot. Okay, Anne, let me pop my screen. I'm gonna do this really quick so you guys can see me a little bit better. Anne says, what do you think this will mean to higher ed? Oh, such a good question, because I come from higher ed. She says, will students be returning to classes? Will students be interested in workforce development? This is such a good question. I can't speak to what's going to happen, but I do think I think higher ed is still going to stay mainstream, meaning I know there's a lot of conflicting ideas around people who say that, oh, you don't need a college education anymore or whatever. But in my experience, and from working with entrepreneurs all the way, to really successful business people, all the way to people that are, in like the service-based industry, there is still value in a college education and in higher ed. So I don't see that going away. I mean, in 5 years, we could be in a totally different situation, or in 10 years. But I think that it's still something that is going to be something that people still do. Okay. In terms of students returning to classes, yeah, I think that COVID is changing a lot of the things that are happening in all sorts of industries. I think we're just getting better at working online together and collaborating in teams online. So I kind of think that classroom interaction, which I used to do both, I would go to a campus and I would teach every day in class, and then I would also teach online. I love being with people, and I love that interaction that I had with my students on a physical level. But a lot of times it's not necessarily like students can still learn on Zoom. They can still learn from home. So I think education's still going to play a huge factor. And you know what? There might be some people that are like, look, I want to go back into the classroom and be with my teacher, and the teacher's willing to do that. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Okay, Kobo Property said, do you need a cover letter with your resume to be considered for a job given the automated resume submission process nowadays? Yes. Okay. This is a really good question. I'm glad that you brought this up. So depending on the job posting, now, if you have a job posting and they're not asking for a cover letter, or excuse me, if they specifically say, do not send a cover letter, you're not going to send one. However, I always recommend still getting your cover letter together for that job. Now, if you're on a time crunch and you're like, oh, I can't get the cover letter in and they're not requiring it, you're probably okay just submitting your resume. However, if you have the time and you can put the energy into it, a cover letter is still such a valuable document, not only because it's almost like a bonus document. Think of it as a bonus document that an employer gets where they're going to look through your resume really quickly. They're going to be able to maybe read the first couple of the first couple of paragraphs on your cover letter. And that's going to paint them a better picture of who you are. Okay. So now they're kind of like into you now as a person rather than just the data that you include on a resume. Okay. The other great thing about the cover letter, it's not just for them, you guys, it's actually for you as well. Because if you can get your story written out in a cover letter, even if you don't send the cover letter and you go into an interview, you've written out your story on the cover letter. And then when you go into the interview, it's so much easier for you to talk about yourself. You can basically mention everything you wrote in your cover letter in your job interview. So if you don't write that out and you don't get those details straight in your mind, when you go to interview or when you go to create a 30-second pitch or when you go and meet a new client or a new prospect for the first time and you haven't written out your story on that cover letter, it's almost like you fumble with your words. You're not able to clearly explain who you are. You have a hard time knowing what's the most important thing that I need to mention here in this conversation. But when you do a cover letter, you're just pulling stuff from that cover letter. So again, to me, it is still 100% necessary unless you're on a time crunch, unless if you've been referred to a position and they're like, hey, look, just give me your resume really quick. I'm going to pass it through. There's times you're not going to need it, but at the same time, even if you could just draft one copy that has your story in it, you could use that forever and then change it as time goes on. Oh, such good questions, you guys. Okay. Any last minute questions that you guys might have either about the workshop? Again, you guys know the dates that we're going to be hosting the workshop. You'll get, as soon as you enroll, you will get access to the bonus, the job interview confidence training, and then you'll be receiving emails from me as we get closer to the workshop day with the details to join. Again, it's not going to be live into the public like this workshop is here. It's in a private setting. You'll also be eligible to submit your cover letter for the review. And by the way, I just did this with one of my clients last week. We pulled up her cover letter on the screen. We were on a Zoom call. I said, give me your cover letter. Let's pull it up. Give me the job description. We read through it. We probably spent maybe 15, 20 minutes and basically rearranged her whole entire cover letter. And she's like, oh, this is awesome, because of course she didn't have to do it, right? Well, she did. She was there with me every step of the way, but it's done now. And she doesn't have to go back and think, oh, okay, I got to write this paragraph and then this paragraph. And there is some thinking involved, but if you are selected for the review, let me tell you, just that process alone, just going through with another career coach through this process, that's well worth its weight in gold. So again, make sure you, if you're interested, make sure you get in, because I don't know, we might run out of spots. We'll see how it goes. Awesome. Tori is welcoming a lot of people in to Cover Letter Magic. Thanks, Tori, for all those shout outs. Okay. I want to mention this real LL Mission says the thing to watch about this resignation phenomena is how the mainstream media frames the story. I totally agree with you there. Some are rebuking the millennials for acting childish, and he goes on to say typical. I totally agree. Okay, let me read this next part. The resignation phenomena is real, and employers need to treat workers much better in order to keep their businesses afloat. Yeah, so if you guys think back to the slide Let me pop this slide up one more time. Why this is happening in the job market right now. So why are we experiencing shortage? And I didn't put this, the last reason that I shared with you guys. And by the way, if you want to take a screenshot of this, feel free to do a screenshot. These are the reasons why we're seeing that shortage, but you also have the fact that we have been receiving generous unemployment benefits in a lot of parts of the country, and in a lot of parts of the world, our governments are putting a lot into stimulus packages. So what's happening is we're getting paid, we have some money, but now the thought of like going to work with a boss that treated you like crap, or with coworkers that either bullied you. I noticed that I saw that pop through in the chat, like coworkers that bullied or harassed you. Like it's not worth it for us to experience that. So it's almost like the pandemic has forced all of us to rethink what's important to us. Do we really want to subject ourselves to that type of thing every day? But I do also think it is making employers realize, hey, you know what? We need to invest more into our employee satisfaction programs. Now, they've been investing all this time into what you would call customer experience. Okay, so acquiring that customer and making sure the customer has like a fantastic journey. They now need to invest in the employee experience, because at the end of the day, believe it or not, your employees are the biggest asset to the company. Without an employee, the company, like a good performing employee, of course, a happy, well-balanced employee that loves their job, that's worth so much more to the company than anything else. So I think companies are realizing that, and I think there's a shift happening. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes over the next couple of months here. Sunday says, I've been having a hard time completing my cover letter. I haven't even come up with any presentable one. Could this be more straightforward guide? Yes. Okay. So Sunday, let me kind of explain how the workshop will happen. So it's going to be very similar to this, where I'm going to share it, but it's more of going to be like an interactive workshop. Like you're going to have a workbook to work from. I'm going to be sharing examples, what to do, what not to do. We're basically going to go from like the top of your cover letter all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to give you a lot of really good ideas to consider. I mean, my goal for you is that you have your cover letter written, or at least you have the bones of it structured during the workshop, and then you leave the workshop and you're able to spend some quiet time and get it all formulated together. If not, and you can get it done during the workshop, that's awesome. So yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for this workshop. Beach Bailey says, sometimes this makes me sad. I followed all the steps for the cover letter and resume and haven't received a single call. Beach Bailey girl, get into the cover letter magic workshop. Okay. We're going to submit your cover letter for the review as well, because there's a lot of things we could do to make sure you're getting a call. Plus, the other thing, you guys, let me focus on too, get this out to your network, okay? And by the way, if you're still watching, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this with anyone you think that might benefit, and hit the notification bell as well. Let's see. Okay, CV Charles mentioned a comment earlier. Favoritism for certain employees is problematic issues within a business establishment, creating mutual conflict amongst staff members. Yes, I totally agree. That is one thing that I think companies can definitely do better with favoritism. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's any other comments that I want to pop out. Yes, good, Tori. Thanks for shouting out. So Anna joined Cover Letter Magic. Elise, Gladys, George, awesome. Sammy mentioned a comment. There is definitely value in education. The standard requirements are increasing in my country, which was previously accepted as minimum is no longer valid. And by the way, you guys, I think too, because I do come from the university setting, and I do believe that there are a lot of classes that you take that just aren't going to help you in the world. Okay. I'm a big proponent of teaching. And as I have young kids, my oldest is 13, as he's going into junior high and then high school and then college. And then my daughter after him, who is 11, we need more courses in junior high, in high school, and college that teach children and young adults really like how to manage life, like how to pay their bills, how to save money, how to start a business, I love these other topics like history and social studies and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like they need to have more real life skills when they get out into the world. So I'm a big proponent of that as well. Awesome. Looks like Catherine and Natalia, I think is how you say your name, all joined Cover Letter Magic. So exciting. Thank you guys. Ryan says, I have a long, I lost Ryan's comment. Ryan says, I have a long, successful career in sales, and in my most recent position as a sales manager was really successful. I do not like sales any longer, but don't know what field I can apply my skills to. Okay, Ryan, this is what I'm going to have you do. You need to go and do, and by the way, you guys, this is not like an end all be all, but there is a free, I'll pop this into the chat. It's a free personality test. And this is Ryan, just to give you some ideas. If you go to 16personalities.com, actually, I think I gave you the link for the actual different personalities, but just go to 16personalities.com and go through that personality test. It takes you 10 to 15 minutes. It's going to give you some ideas that you can consider in terms of different types of positions that you can do that relate to your field now, that relate to your desires and your interests and your goals. Now, once you look at the some of those positions, the next thing I would do, so I'm kind of giving you a couple of different things to do. So this would sort of be BLS. This would be like a little bit of homework for you. If you go to bls.gov, let me pop this into the chat as well. And this is where you can start researching some of those positions and learning about like, what is the pay? What is the job outlook? What is a day in the life of that position look like? Like there's a lot of different things you could do there. So that's what I would recommend you doing. Really good question. Thaddeus, I think is how you say your name. Sorry if I got that wrong. Girl Galen says, I have a master's degree in public health. I hope that it will open a lot of opportunities. Yes, Galen, especially right now. Good job, you guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, I would love to hang out with you guys all day. Tori and I have another obligation here in just a couple minutes. So we are going to sign off. Thank you to everyone who has joined Cover Letter Magic. I can't wait to meet up with you guys in just a couple weeks. If you are on the fence and you're thinking about getting in, make sure you do it sooner rather than later, only because we don't know how many spots we're going to be able to hold for this workshop. So spots could be limited. And I want to make sure that we get all the good stuff in. By the way, if you purchased, I know that Kobo Properties popped a question in. How do I know which class to attend? I'm going to actually share a link for both classes. So once we get our section squared away on the web, like where we're holding the class, you'll get a link for both classes. So you can attend one or both. Now, keep in mind, you guys, if you have not yet put my email. So you're going to get emails from heather@professораustin.com. If you've not yet put my email address as a safe sender, make sure you do that. So all you have to do is drag the email, if it goes into like a primary tab, or it could even end up in spam, drag that into your primary tab. That's how I'm going to be communicating with you is through email. I will also actually be sharing some information in our Facebook group, but mostly it's going to be through email. So make sure you get my email address as a primary sender, or a whitelist my email address, okay? And then you'll get all the good details. So thanks, you guys. I'm so excited. I can't wait to join up with you guys in the next couple weeks for our workshop. If you enroll right now, you'll have access to the job interview confidence training, so you can start watching that right away. You'll be getting emails with your workbook to come. That will be closer to the event, and then be thinking about your cover letter. And I'm going to see you guys in a few weeks. Everyone, stay safe, stay well, and we'll chat soon.